Hello, my name is David Malin, and I'm the instructor for Computer Science E1, Understanding Computers and the Internet at Harvard University's Extension School. You're watching one of our videos of the week. For more such videos or information about this course, visit us on the web at computerscience1.org. Enjoy the show.
Hello, I'm Dan Armendariz, a TA for Computer Science E1. You're watching one of our videos of the week. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about bad ideas in technology. I'm going to discuss just a few of the ideas that look better on paper than they actually ended up being. First one might actually surprise you. It's the Segway. Now, I consider this to be a relatively bad idea because even though on paper it seemed to be really great, it never really took off. It's far too expensive, and really it's only retained this sort of elite status that it's always had. The next one is Microsoft Bob. You may remember this relatively old product. It's from the Windows 3.1 days. It tried to make computers easier to use. The problem with it was that it held your hand a little too much. You can actually see remnants of it in today's modern-day Clippy that you find with Microsoft Office. Still very annoying, I find. Another one is the QCat by the Digital Convergence Corporation. So what this product attempted to do was it gave you a little tiny cat, and you would open up a magazine and there would be a little barcode in an ad. You'd use this cat and scan the barcode, and it would send your computer to whichever website this barcode was supposed to send you to. The problem with this was that it cost a lot of money to distribute these cats to people that had magazines that supported this functionality. The other problem with it were privacy concerns. Every QCat had its own ID number. People were worried that the company could track where they were going, to which ads they were trying to visit. Next is something called DIVX. Now, this is not to be confused with the DivX video format that is popular today. This was actually the Digital Video Express and was released partially by Circuit City. Now, the point of this was you would purchase a DVD for relatively cheap, $3 or $4 or so. You'd bring it home and pop it into your DIVX player, and it would limit how many times you could watch this DVD. Initially, you were allowed to watch it for 24 or 48 hours, and then every time you wanted to watch it again, you would have to pay an additional fee. This failed because, well, people wanted, when they purchased their DVDs, to actually be able to watch them. Now, some of the most spectacular failures have actually been in the video game market. In the mid-1990s, Apple Computer, which we are all familiar with today as coming out with the Macintosh computers and also the iPod line of music players, tried to release a video game console called the Apple Pippin. Now, this was a spectacular failure because it was far too expensive for what it did, and it was trying to compete with some major names such as the Nintendo 64. However, some of the big names were not immune to such failures. Nintendo, a little bit before the mid-90s, came out with the Virtual Boy. This was a very big device that you would set on a table, and it was essentially a virtual reality sort of system. You would put your face up to it, and you would use a little controller, and you would navigate into 3D worlds. The problem was that it was rushed into market far too quickly in an attempt to beat out the Nintendo 64, and so it was definitely rough around the edges. It wasn't very polished. Another failure was the Nokia N-Gage. This was a device that combined a cell phone and a video game player in one device. I suppose the theory was that a lot of people like to play games on their cell phone, and they would take it a step further. The problem was this was marred by a poor first version of the hardware and very weak games. It's often found to be the brunt of many gamers' jokes. In 1993 and 1994, Panasonic and other companies released the video game console known as the 3DO, or the 3DO Interactive Multiplayer. Now, this was an extremely powerful system, but it had a price to match. At the time that it was released, it went for $700. The problem was that this was released to an already overcrowded market. The Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis had already become wildly popular. There was no room for this very expensive console in the market. Recently, a handheld device was released known as the Gizmondo. However, this failed somewhat quickly because of poor business decisions, litigations against the company, and perhaps even some corruption when the company's owner was mixed up in a very difficult police case with the Ferrari Enzo. Well, this has been a video of the week. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Nintendo 64. The problem was, it went a little overboard, and it always tried to hold. Nintendo 64. Now, the problem with this was that it was far too expensive for what it did, and it was competing with some of the much bigger names, such as the Nintendo 64. I'm glad you find Kitty cute. He's ruining my reputation, though.
What?
For my masculine videos of the week.